win, frankly. I mean, something that I think needs to be studied from other North American teams is the pace at which they take mid, the utility that they're throwing, the pathing that they're holding, and maybe, just maybe, Legacy might have just become the new Mirage, like not one trick, but definitely the best Mirage team I think I've seen in North America for quite some time.
I mean, it was certainly one of the most entertaining Mirages I've seen in quite some time.
That's the map I practiced them on, actually, by the way.
Ooh. A little bit of why not lore in there, but for now, I'm wondering if Legacy can carry that same entertainment into Anubis. It's maybe a little bit different, but the pace seems all the same as they run it down canals this time. I'd say practically the same thing. They go through mid, down canals, and crunch into the B site with pretty much no due regard to whoever is there. MDS is just scratching his head with dualies in hand, wondering how to claw himself back into another CT pistol 1v3.
Taking one out of SpongeBob's book with the loop-de-loop and pull. Frankly, it's not a whole lot that can be done from that point forth for MDS, who seemingly has been cursed with the burden of holding himself as the last accountable for a clutch. And you know what? He's got the highest success rate as far as clutches go in this series right now, Antran. they got one round in that last, and they got one clutch.
By percentages, you're right.
His R-dubs would be through the friggin' roof.
Oh, don't bring me back. You know what I'm never going to forget? I feel like there's a lot of people out there who aren't going to remember the history of dot stats pug.
I actually wasn't even really along for that much longer. They brought it back eventually, I think.
Ooh, did they?
I think they brought it back and it was an in-game thing where a little screen had popped up as opposed to pulling you out. I remember it being updated really nicely, yeah.
That's what it was, I thought, always. Okay,
no.
maybe you're the old head.
Do you remember like the white page? That was like the white page that showed you their stats?
Yeah, it was the match page.
Yeah, they ended up updating it, and it was like
in-game.
Nicer.
Yeah, mine was always in-game, so maybe I'm just a young head.
Like in-game as in not like shift tab. It didn't like pull up a shift. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you are a young head then.
Right now, I'm missing the days where the Capybaras were competitive. Ooh, that
damn!
For no
What?
reason.
That was mean. Did I get a new caster? He's a mean caster.
I'm kidding. I think I met these guys playing a long time ago.
I'm joking. Yeah, I was talking, actually, this is a good time to talk about it. Fragacago 2024. That was where, that is where I met these players. I'd seen them for the first time, got the chance to cast them for the first time, on LAN especially, pretty cool. And that was the best showing I think I've seen from them, period. They were a different roster at that point, playing with Servo and Zombie over who I believe would have been Gabe and in this position MDS. And they made top 4. At that LAN, they'd taken down an academy team for Amped, which was like, They took down a Wanted Goons roster featuring the likes of CXCI, Axed, and then a couple other mixed players from the area, Jackro, Nate, and Gertz. And then they found themselves up against the Timbermint in the semis, and then everybody in the right minds probably would have went, yeah, chalk it in the water, right? But map 1, it was Anubis, Anthran. It was Anubis, and they took it 13-11 over the Timbermint. They ended up losing out the series in general, but even still, I think taking a map off those guys should show something, and we're here now.
Yeah, that was like the peak age of Timbermint, where they were winning so many different things, always competitive with like every team in North America.
That was the full Timbermint team, yes. It wasn't like one of those little funny mixes of them.
I remember my first LAN was, I want to say it was Frag 16?
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was 16 or 17. It was one of the two.
Strife won that one.
Yeah, yep. That was it.
CFCI Strife.
They brought G Fuel into the venue like the second day, like it wasn't there originally.
Okay.
And they were selling lanyards with it. They gave lanyards to the first few people who bought it. So I remember buying one and putting the tab of the can on my lanyard and walking around with it all day without actually opening it.
Right.
So.
I think the funny story about that, though, is that not a lot of people who were around or pay attention to NA would know that Apex Rebels, the academy team, had gone to the Frag 16.
Oh my God!
And then lost in the finals. And then the next frag, they sent the main Apex team, and they lost in the semis, dude.
I remember that. Yep. I remember Apex going there and thinking. I remember Shocks on. What was it? Years at Elfia?
That was it. That was Apex.
Is that what they called it?
That was the Apex team. It was Shocks.
I know. Yeah.
Sticko and JL.
I just remember seeing. I think it was Jacko, Axner, and because it was like that post-game show where they would all have a couple of beers and have like a podcast. They brought Shocks on there. Yeah, that was a classic. I don't know if they still do it, but it was fun.
But now we can lock in for the first gun round of the game, Manthran. Yeah, I mean, that was a good little time to talk.
Dumao's already... What is this, man? It kind of feels like, again, it's Mirage all over again, but J-Chance risens up to it at the very last second. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the alarm bells have been raised. Wait a second, though. How is Dumao in heaven? Got his Seabass nose, but that's a free sight for them.
I think he walked across while his other teammate, Lux, had walked up towards B side. So 2 players there. They take 2 different directions of attack. One of the 2 of them is bound to catch somebody off, given the contact of the first of them, right? So that's like the first player dying to the op of J-Chance, and then the rest of everybody is like, oh my god, wait, the mid is compromised, boys. We got to turn around. And Dumao is like, hello. Good luck.
It's crazy because that's one of those moments where Legacy didn't need something to go right. There's so many different prongs and so many different eggs in each basket, but at the same time, you know, it's also a risk in its own right. I mean, results-oriented analysis, if one player loses the wrong 1v1, specifically if Dumao didn't get that kill over in Heavens, you know, what ifs, it's around that Legacy might just end up falling apart in, but that's something they have to worry about just now is to get back to pistols for the Capybaras, who still can't really seem to get their heads wrapped around this Legacy game plan.
5 minutes in, 4 rounds through. Is this just another run back?
Are you just keeping a stopwatch on your desk?
Yeah, the last time that we had seen that team that I was speaking of on LAN, that Anubis roster of Take Flight, J-Chance was their biggest fighter, in my opinion. I think he definitely was probably their X factor, so to speak, and opping on LAN is a different beast. But opping online, I think if you're going to put Sadzin up against J-Chance, it's more likely than not you'd catch Sadzin on the top sides of that, but J-Chance not subsiding from this game. He's the only player with kills?
Oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
Dude,
oh
what?
No. Oh no.
Wow.
Wait, now you've built a story in its own. Now I'm just addicted to looking at the stats right now.
The stats do tell you some things sometimes.
Screw dot stats pug, dot stats league.
Dot stats.
It's a joke, because that wasn't actually a thing.
Chance. Let's see if he gets his 1 kill this round.
Oh my god, bro, you're
gets a
kidding.
rifle. He's got no armor to utilize, but oh, he does have armor, but it don't matter. It don't matter when Sadzin is there, and if everyone dies without a kill this round, this is gonna be one of the craziest and most disappointing moments, I feel like. Oh, here's his chance. And
no, clear it, please clear it. No.
Lord. I'm not hate watching. We're not hate watching this game.
We're not.
We're love watching, and I want to see J-Chance now with an AWP give his team that same level of output that he's had thus far, and I want to see everybody else come out swinging. This is the time to do it, because right now, Anthran, say this map is D-sided all you want. They need rounds.
Yeah.
They need rounds.
It's not even like the Bad News Capybaras have had this like turtle up defense that's like too skittish from what Legacy are throwing at them. We're seeing them get proactive. We're seeing them take some control in B main, flash through, get info. We're seeing them fight for connector. We're seeing them try to take space in A main as well. But nothing's coming through for them. Brave. Finally with an opportunity from Pizza. They don't have the player looking in the right spot, and there goes Lux, but the trade is right back in as the Deagle of Sadzin has just torn apart their B defense.
Bang out. There's J-Chance bringing them back to even standings to where that bomb site's been taken, but a very realistic possibility for a retake has to be taken into consideration. Given the utility still on their belts, it's a nade to blow the smoke with nothing to be seen, but losing on MDS before they've actually activated 3 different prongs of attack, and none of them are going to be given leeway enough to justify going any feet further beyond. This is another one that will subside, another one that will drift away from their clutches, and Legacy find themselves at bar none, at bare minimum tied at the ends of this half at 6, if not nothing else.
Right. And something tells me that's not going to be the outcome of this. I don't know, just with the pacing, unless we see some radical change in the next round, which I don't know. I don't think we've seen enough timeouts called from the Bad News Capybaras, if I'm being quite frank with you. This is a spot where I am trying to abruptly halt this momentum because something is not working. I mean, they dealt with the entry, right? Like, Lux, who has been their golden goose egg back on Mirage, opening up almost every one of the site's rounds and areas he took, was immediately, you like that one? Immediately thrown down, and then Sadzin just rips 2 back, no trade potential, the B site's theirs.
In comes the
Uh-oh.
next round with money for them to to try and do something with. This is always a good last resort. The deep canals take. It's MDS to find the first incision, but J-Chance not posted enough deeply to find anybody else on a wider swing to bridge, and Sadzin once again, for the second or maybe even third time, pulls that man advantage right on back in trade, and he'll do it 2 times over. It's doubly fold. He'll find himself yet to die.
Uh-oh. That nade is going to do them more harm than good. They know J-Chance is over toward connectors. The second they drop Grave, they know the round is theirs. And if I'm J-Chance, I'm not going anywhere near this round. You have to succeed. The money's not there. You have the op, and he has been their one pillar in this game, constantly doing something for them, positioning himself well, holding his area down properly. It's when you look at A, there have been kind of a couple of faults. They tried to circumvent it by crunching into canals. Legacy shut that down quick, even though, again, they lost the opening duel. This is a game of what I feel is lacking trades for the Capybaras. We've now a couple of times seen them walk away with man advantages. Each and every time it's turned against them.
He's just going to save on to the sniper rifle. Couple of bucks he doesn't have to invest in, but another moment where we can say as many times as we so please, yep, they'll have a buy, yep, they'll have a buy. It doesn't really matter. It's not the buys that are the problem. It's a consolation prize to the greater victory that would be being able to slip away with a singular, and by virtue of just mistakes being made over on Mirage, it was the first for MDS that he had found, but not even mistakes necessarily. Lux was a 1 HP player in Palace, and he just so happened to have a nade at his toes. So 7, soon to turn 8, unless J-Chance can pull off of Mythos. And it doesn't seem like he'll be given much room to do so just yet with the Molotovs that keep him at bay. And he'll stick around for long enough to where if Doomau's going to be a bit of a little lurker, he could be found quickly. But now they know where the op is posted from.
Oh, Dumao and Lato have just opened up this round again, man.
Again.
It just feels like everywhere you go, it's from bad to worse. And, I mean, when it's Grave standing between 4 separate people with the Deagle, I mean, yeah, maybe you get one, but at the end of the day, my expectations are fairly low. Need to do some quick facts checking. I'm a little worried that we have an agent in the server.
An agent skin?
No, an agent.
Oh, an agent.
Yeah, a bad agent.
A literal agent. I'm looking on HLTV real quick.
Right. Gotta wait for it to update.
It's 2 rounds behind, and that's just a testament to how quick this game has been going.
It's not 2 rounds anymore. It's 3 rounds behind now, by the way. 3 rounds.
Yeah, 3 rounds behind now.
Technically.
What's there to even do, man?
Do Mao. Sorry.
Oh. Okay.
You know, just blame a guy for trying.
Nope. I'm cool with it.
My estimate is that we do have an agent in the server, unfortunately. And I don't know. It shows how one side of this has really been, man. It's just everywhere you look, it's Legacy winning these duels, except for J-Chance, but it almost feels like a part of this game and strategy is avoid J-Chance, and they're doing that really damn well.
He's taken up hold in mid once more on the same angle that had been exposed last, and Dumao playing a much deeper hold, given he's the only man here. He's not going to call upon anybody to help out. Instead, he'll try and just push them into a corner with a singular smoke, and that's going to maybe fight or flight J-Chance a little bit to play ahead or play behind, and given how the game has gone thus far, he's going to choose the former. He walks it up, holds an even more aggressive line, but he's spotted and seen nothing. That's going to have to be for the rest of the team now to say, okay, well, we got to be coming towards one of our other directions, so hold up, boys. A gamble stack towards B comes as the A lurk is dealt with by Neeson. Hello, bomb site. Hello, Dumao. He's already gotten to this first, but with only 1 HP. It's no one else who's gone actually in for contact to be able to swing off and trade.
Oh my god, the fact that Lato gets that kill though is huge. I'm surprised.
A's open.
I thought for a moment they were going to try and get maybe a kill up at that, but you're right, A is open. They realize that's a potential loophole, and Lux calls it off, says go to the other side of the map and play the guards from there. Right now, Sadzin, the man tasked with protecting the players. Lux hears from heaven, drops MDS, And now it will fall all up to Sads, and it's a 1v2. You talked about the clutch potential earlier. Percentage favored the likes of...
Oh, no.
That is Capybaras.
I can't believe J Chance just told him he was a
Oh,
main.
no.
That's just a free 1v1 he's isolated there. There was only one way of entry point. Grave, he wasn't even yet out into the bomb site for that to have been a moment where the flashback would have even mattered. And there comes the clutch, given just by a little bit of a sound cue. He had no idea where the other player was coming from. For all he knew, he could have been side by side with the other player and deeper towards a main. He kind of gives up a bit of a biff there. I mean,
yeah.
I think personally that where his teammate in Grave is at Heaven, just flash through the window from outside of A main in front of Heaven for Grave to swing in. Then Grave takes his contact and you can keep walking up. There's a trade that's bound to happen.
Regardless of it, it kind of just feels like you isolated the 1v1, whether you throw the flash or not, right? They don't really play that with each other. They just play two separate 1v1s, and I said it on Mirage, where it kind of felt like it was a tale of two separate stories, where you see Legacy always constantly with one another. There's always a turning gear. It's never a jagged edge or anything. Maybe this time it's a little different. Lux in on his own little mission, but still, there was a second, man. Lato, he tried to go in and find a trade, wasn't ready for two people to be there. I think Dumao might clean up the mess, though, as one kill could quickly turn into two with his teammates starting to spiral out of connector. However, now, finally, we're seeing the Capybaras hold down, ironically enough. Again, it will turn to be, I believe, 9-1.
Don't give more to Sadzin, please. Don't give more to Sadzin. We can't see this happen 2 times over. Still needing to be the difference makers. That sniper rifle here, though, and he very well still could. It's just going to have to be no more mistakes from the CTs.
Ooh, this util is so huge, too. Dumao being set up very, very well. Maybe an opportunity for a fight. I'll have to hit a pretty instant headshot. Good flash! He sees a man at the back of it. They don't know how low he is, but now I don't really think it's going to matter. They're all going to spree out like ants on an anthill and finally get themselves on the board for Anubis. I guess better late than never, but I'm pretty sure it's the exact same point where the Capybaras got on the board in Mirage.
I just wonder what that could have looked like if that shot through the wall wasn't through the wall, if it was even a split second different. It's weird. Sadzin in another universe might have just done it, but they built up such a bank right now. They're going to be sitting pretty for these last 2 rounds no matter what, where there's still room for an instant reset given that one moment of success. They're going to have to stretch that one out as long as they can. I mean, I think 3 rounds is definitely doable. I think 3 rounds on this map is something you can work with, but that's not to say that it's ideal, not even close. I'd say ideally you want like 5. I'd say realistically you get 4.
Anything right now is what they'll take, but earning each and every inch they decide to trek on. Right now, Gabe's sitting behind the smoke in B main. I don't know how much I like that idea, but he's got a crossfire set up here, so maybe it can work. Exactly what the doctor ordered as the flashes go in. Trades now looking to be on point for the Capybaras, but Graves not going to get assistance in time, and again, the site will fall short.
This is still okay, though. It's not the worst thing in the world now. I mean, the bomb planner goes for that full stick. There was a timing that Seabass could have tried to be a hero, and I don't know if I would have blamed him, but now he'll walk through the smoke and take his first point of contact over the top sides of it, and the spray is connected cleanly to where Sadzin didn't really even know where he was being shot from before time to react. Dumao now in a moment where he can isolate these pretty evenly, given there's still a smoke at left side of CT, but he's missteps straight into the HE above all else, and he's baited out by the sound cue of the tap. It's not the full stick, it's both players to swing in a 3-2-1, and speaking of 2 and 1, flip those. It's a convergence into at least something to look forward towards in this next half.
Any momentum you'll take at this point, right? Hopefully you can ride the highs of something as you shift to the T side. Really, I don't know what else to say. But Legacy are already sitting on top of what could easily turn to be a double-digit first half, and the Capybaras might just have to swallow that pill, unless J-Chance, who I don't feel like we've spoken of in a couple of rounds. I feel like the highlight has been elsewhere. Got the op back in his hands. Why not him? He's been shifty. He's been in mid, in A, and B. As much as the Capybaras haven't necessarily had the round counts to show for it, I feel like J-Chance is not only playing well in the kill feed, but in the way he's moving with the op.
Oh, so weird for J-Chance, or excuse me, for Seabass and mid, pulling a nade, but actually manages that one kill that I think probably was the most I would have anticipated given that situation unfolding the way that it did. And Grave, unfortunately, not able to escape the line of sights of Dumao. If he looked straight into the floor, he definitely would have seen, but all good.
And there goes J-Chance, too. I mean, he was the real only opportunity back into this round. A timing shift back into the smoke, then maybe get into the B site, make things a little more messy. However, it's Legacy, again, a double-digit half. One more round to speak of for the Capybaras, but not much more.
Anubis is looking like a little bit more of the same, Anthread, and I hate to say that, but maybe, just maybe, they'll change the tune of their instrumental now as this comes the crescendo coming down, perhaps, or we find ourselves on...
Oh my god!
A little bit of a chorus, and oh my god, yeah, Lotto, he just was given the perfect movement, and he sees nothing at B main, and that's even better. They just know that nothing's going on that way.
Like, take a shower. I'm sorry. That was cool. I'm actually really happy to see that. This kind of feels like it's exactly the type of stuff you would see Legacy bring into the game, especially with how quick some of their site takes have been in the previous map. In this map, it's little niche things like that that separate this team from others. And even though they're not in this A site to contend, they have everybody at the scene of the crime for when the take comes in. Sadzin already starts off strong with the kill on Grave, and it might only go bad from here.
Placed into his not so neatly. Running back towards that B site where it's already been compromised. Dumao, actually, rather Legacy in general, for the first time in this entire series, in my opinion, gets caught not really looking like they had full control of what was happening around them. And It won't really matter if they can fight off the wall and just get the shots required, as another player is already spotted on the sidewalk. It's Neeson who misses the mark and no more ammo. He needs everybody else to flood into this temple side, and Seabass is caught at the pillar. This is going to be a near impossible clutch for MDS. It's going to have to be banger after banger after banger, one after another.
Yeah, they're just going to have somebody stick it at this point. I mean, time running low, but if you hit the right shot, you hit the right head! And I thought for a moment that was going to happen. Nobody really had a kit in quick proximity. You get that kill, maybe just buy an extra second or two, and it can get pulled away. But Legacy actually stay on top of things. And you're right, the Capybaras did swing one over on him, but this is another thing that makes Legacy so strong. Things don't go their way, and they're ready for it. Even a little head shake there from Lato.
This is pretty okay buy, I guess. I mean, it's one that they could find an opening pick if they're smart about it, but only one of them dispatched up. There's MDS's Galil making itself present in the kill feed, but his name will be spotted twice, once in passing, as this is now them still with this man advantage that they've found from the earliest swing from Dumao. It's pulled at least this Galil into the hands of J Chance and them towards an A-side execution with very little options left to them, but they don't have to commit necessarily. And I think they're just going to go for either a re-exec, which would make the most sense late, or hold their own. Hope that somebody goes walking into their lines of sights, to which Sadson will oblige.
Love this slowdown, too, from the Capybaras and really try to get into the head of Legacy, which right now you've only got one man in the vicinity of B, not even a second in mid to come through on a rotation. If Lato doesn't get one or two, this round falls apart. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if it still does. But taking it slow, keeping it calm. They've got one Molly on the other end of the world to try and come back in when things start to hit the fan. J Chance. Half HP, the only vulnerability right now as the smoke comes through. Grave hasn't cleared this yet. It was ready, but turns away at the plot the bomb. And Latos just won them the round. Grave had the right idea, but nobody stuck around to actually clear it, so Latos just going to sweep aside all three of them himself.
Problems there. Only a solution, and that's shoot through. This one quickly wrapping up just as well as the last had in Legacy. Well, they're looking very, very nice for that prime taking of good stance in ECL. I'm going to go check what that will be, actually, in just a second here as this last round unfolds and we see them with just about as good as a buy as the last was, frankly. It's a scout that's featured for J-Chance now. Let's see if he can do some tagging with it. There's definitely bank and its potential.
I don't know how much potential can really turn into promise, though. Luck's great flash spots the scout of J-Chance early. The man who is touted as the pillar of the Bad News Capybaras feels like the only preventative measure from this game falling away from them. Sadson, though, at the most inopportune time, has been distracted back to the depths of the A side. So MDS's Galil gets uncomfortable close. They're going to try to stack around him, but the A4 has come crashing down on the only optimistic mid-take the Bad News Capybaras could muster. And J-Chance, his angle already known, shouldn't be much of a hold, stopping Legacy from shutting down the map. Another steamroll, at least one more round to speak of, but really not much other than that.
Top 10 move on to the next stage of the regular season into playoffs for ECL Season 49, and these two maps have just taken Legacy from 11th to 9th. So